Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 3, sort of, for Three Brothers Talking, a casual, uncut conversation about life and anything else that comes up. And I am David.
I'm Andrew.
I am Jeremy.
Yeah, and today we're kind of seriously, kind of not redoing episode 1, because you've already heard episode 1, probably, if you're listening to this. Hopefully. But this is kind of our episode 1, because this is kind of the one where we actually have the technology like 90% figured out.
We know somewhat what we're doing.
Yeah, right now, like when we hit record, it actually, every time, it actually does start to record successfully. And so we got that figured out. We've had a couple practice rounds now at talking into computers together and all that. So now this is kind of episode 1. We've got mics for everybody. Everybody's got their own mic, which is good.
I kind of miss passing the mic. I felt like it just had some synergy to the podcast that Andrew and I got. Some teamwork was built.
It helped you guys bond.
We needed some more bonding in our lives. We've only known each other for like 20, how old are you now?
27.
27 years. So we've only known each other 27 years.
We also have bourbon this time, so that makes it official.
That does. That also helps the team building.
Yes.
For sure.
Hashtag explicit. Are we allowed to drink bourbon?
So Jeremy did you introduce yourself yet?
Well, I did. I just said I'm Jeremy. You guys didn't do an intro, so I wouldn't be the only one.
Intro. You said that you had one.
So I had one. It was going to be, I'm Jeremy, your radioactive host. Okay. I'm going to a nuclear power plant next week. But for work, that was basically it. It was not exciting.
Just to be clear.
Man.
But what happens. If there's a spider, who knows how this whole thing could turn out. I have always prayed for spider powers.
Jeremy could,
quite honestly,
Jeremy could come back with superpowers next week. He could come back either on the one hand, he could have like webbed feet. On the other hand, he could maybe be able to fly or see through walls.
That thought did cross my mind. So I figure it's worth the risk.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you'll probably just go there and work and come home.
Nuclear power is evil. So.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there goes half our business. So I guess I'm out of a job.
Yeah, that's been fun. That's true.
Hopefully my kids can learn to eat other things like not food.
Not food.
Yep.
Hopefully they get good at that. But I am David, and today we're going to talk about giving advice to our younger selves is the idea. So we're not like, probably if you're listening to it, you're like, these guys probably sound like they're young already, but we're still talking to our younger selves. So that's the thing about life. Every time you get a little bit older, you kind of gain some wisdom that you wish you would have known like a year earlier at least. And so yeah, tonight talking about advice to our past selves, not our future selves, which was something
that'd be hard to do.
Jeremy mistakenly said that might be the topic for tonight.
I may have said it like at least 5 times.
Yeah, which would be a very different episode, and maybe entertaining.
We can do past selves, and you can do future.
If you have a future advice,
I had a good one. Like, hey, tomorrow maybe eat healthier. See,
there you go.
Future advice: drink more water. You're welcome, America.
So Andrew and I will do past selves. Jeremy will do future self.
I'm gonna do future past self.
There you go. Just like Jim in The Office.
Yes.
Having Dwight give advice to future Dwight, or no, have future Dwight gives advice to past Dwight.
I was thinking more like X-Men, but that was just me.
Yeah. So, who wants to start it off? Advice to former self, not former self, because you're still you, but
Jeremy, you want to
I can start off. I'm going to start off with
take it away.
I will take it away, Dave. I'm taking it away. Here we go. You can land the plane, Ange. If you want. That's a lot of pressure, though.
That is a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
But if you say that, it sounds really cool.
We'll see what happens.
So my first one was don't eat the borscht. When I went to Russia after being on a plane for a very long time, I thought it'd be fun. I was young and dumb. I had an opportunity to get a cheeseburger, and I said, no, I'm going to eat some authentic Russian food. And I had borscht, which was basically cold beet stew. And hopefully we don't have any Russian listeners here. We might be going international.
We are completely segmenting.
I have made some good friends over there. If any of my Russian friends like Evgeny and Kim are there listening to this podcast,
we are huge
greetings from America.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can tell already.
But that was the worst meal I've ever had.
Fans
Our first live event that we ever do will be in Siberia.
I have contacts in Tumin still.
It's true.
I seriously do. We can go there whenever we want. I'm a big hit there
because it's really cold there.
So that was the first one. Just don't eat the borscht. And the other one is a more serious one. Well, do you want me to keep going?
Say the serious serious one.
We'll say
We'll
the
let
serious-
somebody else throw something in, and then
That works for me.
we'll come back to it.
I didn't really have a joking one, I
Well,
guess.
then you have to rethink it.
Because Andrew's serious. To take it down the serious.
Yeah,
road.
we'll go down the
You can
serious
transition.
route.
That's the beauty of our whole podcast here.
Kind of lighthearted, I guess, but somewhat serious. The first one I would say would be I would hope that I would have gotten more disciplined in the art of reading and studying at a young age, and actually like instilled that in myself. That is because even now it's still a struggle for me. I don't know about you, but I struggle and I have to kind of force myself to make a concerted effort to read, whether it's theology, whether it's my time studying the Bible, or it's actually, just reading for fun as well. Because newsflash, that's also good for you to read for entertainment too. But I never really pushed into that. I was like, I was growing up, I always wanted to be outside doing something. I always wanted to be playing sports, be doing, hanging out with friends, be, video games, entertainment, any other way. And that's really like, I've seen that now where I wish I would have valued the art of reading and studying a lot more, I guess would be my first like kind of quick one.
Andrew always wanted to work out his body, but not his brain.
Yeah. And even now, I just noticed that if I didn't
That was
stress
stupid.
that early on,
I hope that's the dumbest thing I'll ever say on
like
this
now
podcast.
I
Probably
notice
won't.
in myself that like since I didn't instill that in me, that it's a challenge even now to even push myself into it. So
I tell you what, man, I never read a lot of I didn't read a lot actually until I got to college, I think, and then I really just read only theology stuff. And something that you said there of like reading for fun too, like I never did that.
that's also good for you.
It's
Yeah.
very good for you. I was reading the book Reset, which is like one of my most highly recommended books ever, is the book Reset by David Murray. And then there's a companion book for women called Refresh by David and his wife, Shonda Murray. And it's about burnout and living at a healthier pace and all this stuff. But he has a thing in there about what reading does like to the brain. It's incredible. Like the amount of like reading for pleasure, how it's so much better of relaxation once your body and your mind like learns to do it habitually, how it is like quantifiably, scientifically a better relaxation than watching TV, playing a video game, like fill in the blank.
Oh yeah.
It's incredible how much better it is. And even more like reading a physical book as opposed to just reading through a screen and all this stuff. And I still watch TV and all that stuff to unwind, but since I read that, it totally like I read that chapter and I was like, oh, I got to read more for fun.
Even now, like I noticed a shift where like I still get entertained by TV and all that, but I've noticed that like really I'm only really drawn to like the live sports as far as viewing goes. And like I realized just how much watching like these stupid shows that come out series after series and stuff where like now it's like switched in me where like that doesn't interest me as much. Like, yes, I enjoy following sports teams and I enjoy getting all the live sports that I can. But other than that, like there's not a whole lot out there that is as enjoyable, I guess.
Faith and I were just talking about it today, actually, because we have Hulu and Netflix, and we tried Sling for a while, but we ended up not. Because I'm like, hey, I only really need this for sports and actually for Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
That's really the only reason why we got it. But the fact that it's in the reading, so I started reading, I think, after, like, just habitually bring myself to do it. It was after college, and it was just like a way to, I think, cheaply entertain myself as like, because I could buy a book and it'd probably last me a little bit longer than like a monthly subscription to something else.
Yeah.
It's true.
Or go to a
It's
library
cheaper.
or something like that, which I rarely ever did, but I've heard having fun is not hard if you have a library card. See, that might be the lamest
is that
thing.
Reading Rainbow?
Is that-
I don't
yeah.
know, but I was trying
Where's
to
that
outlane
from?
David. I don't know. I've heard, you
that's-
never heard that before? It's really
I've
old.
heard- I know I've heard
That's
it
from
before.
like when
Hopefully
I grew
that
up as a
joke
kid.
landed with somebody.
Sure, it landed with some of my our librarian crowd. If Amy,
The librarian crowd is like going crazy
like,
right now.
"Ah,
Like,
that's so
right.
great."
I'm gonna show this to all my students on
but
Monday.
being able to read and like that's what like I have a Kindle Paperwhite now, and it's helped like going even like so we have Micah or whatnot, being able to sit there and read at night without like I can just pick up and read wherever I'm at.
I tell you what, I got a
lose my
Kindle.
place.
I got a Kindle not too long ago, and it is that's a worthy investment. Like sometimes I even prefer reading it on Kindle to reading it in an actual book sometimes.
It depends on the
You
location.
got one
but-
hand on that sucker.
Well, you can't. That's the nice thing for us, especially because
Yeah.
I can do like deaden the brightness and just like it's like, oh, he's getting fussy. I'll just close it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't have to write a bookmark or turn on the
Yeah.
light. Since it's the Paperwhite, my eyes don't adjust. This is not an ad for Paperwhite unless Amazon
Maybe
wants to
Not,
sponsor
maybe
us.
not a sponsor. Wish they
But
were, but
we would gladly take it.
Small, yeah. Amazon can, contact
If you want to
us.
send us some free Paperwhites, be
Dude,
our
I'm
guest.
down for that.
Newsflash to all the
Contact.
listeners out there: we are in the pre-sponsor phase.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. Yeah. So if you are Amazon, if you work for Amazon, if you're Mr. Amazon,
If you have an Amazon account.
I mean, you can sponsor us too. Literally, anyone could. Like,
Since
you
they're
could
not
just
going to New York, they might be looking for something to do. So.
yeah, just like contact us and just
You
be
have
like,
room in
hey,
your backyard.
here's some goods or money in exchange for quote unquote sponsoring, and we'll be like, yeah, we're down with that.
Yeah.
Like, reading huge. I'm glad now that is even a much bigger part of my life than it used to be, because it just does more for you.
Yeah.
You know, like times when I go through a week now where I just spend the time like doing other stuff to fill my non-busy time, free time, as it's more commonly. So I don't know why I said it that way. I totally feel like yeah, this could be fun, but reading actually feels like, even when it's just for fun, reading actually feels like it builds you in some way. Like it makes you smarter. It does something. Which, man, we just sound a little lame right now, but
Well, you
that's
feel like you
okay.
actually accomplished something. Like,
Yeah.
because you can sit there and like, that's the thing with like Netflix and all that stuff now. Like, we love Netflix, but like, yes, they're repetitive. Like, at the end of the day, we're going to go back and watching The Office or Parks and Rec probably.
Yeah.
So no matter what we do, like, we watched a new show, then back to that.
There's
And it's
something
still entertaining.
There's an actual achievement in finishing a book, and there's not that achievement in finishing a show.
right.
There's not.
You just keep clicking the continue watching button.
Yes.
button.
You don't have to click it.
Yeah.
It'll go
This-
by itself now.
This portion,
really?
It'll keep going up till like
Yeah.
I think
A couple hours.
a couple hours, and then it's like, are
So
you
if
still
you just
watching? You're
wait-
like, oh, now I have to
If
click.
you just wait long enough on the screen, it just goes
Yeah.
back into it.
Yeah, if you,
absolutely.
it says it.
Yeah, it's
That's
like
what the
20
little thing
seconds.
it says. Like
Gives
if
you
you
20
watch
seconds.
it, we can do. If you want to record an
That
excerpt
just
of us
means-
watching this, we can.
that just
but it
means
won't
that
be.
Andrew is like, when he's watching Netflix, he's
You're
so like
paying
on top of it that he just immediately presses
I'm
next.
pretty
No,
quick
it's
to
in
just
it
click the
and
button.
go.
Yeah.
Next episode.
Next episode. Immediately.
Don't tell me when to stop, Netflix.
I'll tell you when to
tell
stop.
you.
Yeah.
I
so
am watching.
I just want to push down the machines. They don't.
Yeah, this,
I don't want them taken over. I have control.
Andrew's advice is brought to you by librarians across America / Reading Rainbow / LeVar Burton.
Trying to get that credit.
Yeah, that's right. So my advice, unless Jeremy, you want to jump in?
No, you can go ahead.
Okay. My advice would be basically deal with your problems and your habits as soon as you know about them. And that's because I think it's like there's like a proverb about this thing called the dragon, and the whole idea is that if you attack the dragon, when that dragon being negative qualities in your life, if you attack them when they're small, they don't have a chance to grow into a bigger dragon. But the idea is that we just like see habits in our lives, we see issues in our lives, and we don't deal with them, and then they become huge down the line. And so, like for me, I dealt with and still deal with a fair amount of depression, anxiety, and some traumatic stress and things like that. And I knew about all this stuff, if not before I was 18, definitely when I was 19 and 20 getting into college. Like it was obvious, I knew it then, but I just really did nothing about it. Because I was single and all this stuff, I could just kind of cope with all those things, and I could kind of pacify him. And then right when I'm about to get married, kind of all those things, like they just got bad enough that they all hit the fan. And so if I could go back in time now, I would just like tell my younger self, like, look, you already know this is here. And if you deal with it now, you're going to have a better, like the next 4 years of my life would have been better. Mm-hmm. And you're not gonna I just go back in time and say you'll save yourself from so much, and it'll be way easier to fight this when it doesn't have a 4-year head start on you.
Mm-hmm. Are you saying time does not heal all wounds?
Time does not heal all wounds. And sometimes that time makes it way worse, because it just every single day the habits, and everyone
build
has
into
this.
it.
Like I almost knocked over my microphone.
David, that's a mic stand.
Yeah.
Don't hit it.
Apparently it's pretty precariously balanced here, but everybody's got different issues and habits and stuff like that. Like for me, like I said, the words depression, anxiety and stuff, which I feel like is kind of a buzzword now. Like, but it doesn't matter what the habit or whatever it is, like whatever the habit is, when you know that it's there, habit or issue or shortcoming or something, think about the fact of like, all right, when I get married, am I going to want to be done with this already? Or whenever I get older, am I going to wish that I didn't have this anymore? And if I wish I didn't have it anymore, then I should deal with it right now. So that's kind of the advice I would give the younger self, is just like, as soon as you know about those things, why not deal with them right away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I would say the other part of that kind of ties into it too. The other point would be like to have also, I know I'm kind of building in kind of life principles, I guess, with my two, but keeping kind of a friend or person, building that in as a person you can seek accountability with early on would have been much more helpful, because like, I mean, everybody when they're growing up through, you know, their adolescence and then teenage and high school years and all that. Like, I mean, I did plenty of stupid stuff. And I made plenty of mistakes, and I made plenty of things that
we don't have time to go through all the stupid stuff we've all done.
That I can regret now. But like looking back at it even now, like I realized later in life that like the importance of having, if you're going to take your walk seriously, having, camaraderie with somebody to the point where you can be 100% real and all that with somebody in their life, and somebody who's actively going to be checking in with you as far as your walk goes.
Yeah.
And if that was instilled into me at an early age, that like I had a relationship to that depth, then it probably would have saved me from a lot of the stupid decisions and stuff that like were mistakes that I realized after the fact too. And that was the other big thing that kind of stuck out to me, I guess. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts about that, but
100% agree. Because I think, you
don't realize the importance until really a level of maturity, I guess. But
I think now, some of the stuff I've listened to in the past couple of weeks even have talked a lot about the idea of loneliness in our culture and how we are in so many ways better off than any humans have ever been in the history of the world. But at the same time, the way society just kind of works now, we're also very, very lonely. And like the average... We
isolate ourselves.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even our work is kind of isolated, and it's just everything's isolated. And like, so loneliness on a grand scale is bad, but even just like having 1-2 people that you have an actual camaraderie with that lasts and that you invest in. Yeah. Like I wish that, and that's something that going into the church that my wife and I are in now, a church that's newer to us, a newer church in general, because it's a church plant. But that's something like we care about a lot right now, is like, let's try to get that. Yeah. Because it makes a huge difference.
We'll go past, I almost said future advice. Another piece of past advice I would say for me, you don't always have to be impressive. Yeah. You just be yourself. Like so often we sit there and say, man, I have to put up this front in some way, shape or form, whether that's at work or in a school, at college, in relationships, like going back to your accountability thing or whatever. Like I have to put up this front that I have it all together, that I have all the answers, that I don't need help. And I think intellectually, we also, especially as Christians, will sit there and say, God is our help, or someone else will help. But I'm like, you're sitting there relinquishing control. So, you know what? I really do need help, or I really don't know what to do here. And there's one thing to say that, because I think we'll say it, but she's there and say, I just don't know what to do. And I don't have to be impressive now. Like I can be the person, like that's what a friend Josh of mine said. He goes, God wants to deal with you here. He doesn't want that version of you later on that's impressive. He wants to love you here, to meet you here. And the other people in your life, they want to meet you here too, because that's why they're here. And that's something we all fight against to a degree. And that's obviously not for every relationship at all times, but being able to sit there and say, even at work, like, you know what, like I don't have to put in 50 plus hours, even if my boss expects it or like whatnot, like maybe for a season, but sitting there and say, you know what, I don't have to be the most impressive person in this place. Like what are my priorities? And then making decisions based off of that, which is tough in our culture of always needing to be on. But learning that is something I'm still learning it. I just don't need to be impressive right now. I can be me, and whether that's awkward, like going and being able to, I'm gonna try to do something like preach for the first time or teach a study, not have it all together, and say, you know what, it's okay to make some mistakes and kind of learn and grow.
Yeah.
And it's okay to not have your identity wrapped up in that either. Where like that hits big for me, because I remember like through the high school days, I was definitely one where like I put so much stock into the kind of the front that I was putting on there, and like having it all together. I was a leader in my class. I was big in athletics. I was good grades. I was popular and all that. And like from our experience growing up, it was largely like everybody looked at us as if we had like this perfect family and everything was together and all that. And I just, it very easily got into like, all right, I have so much stock built up to just maintaining that too. And like, realizing that it was so like not worth it, and trying to maintain this image that wasn't really true. And it's just crazy when you think back about just how much you overemphasize yourself.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's struck home for me is lately, in the last few months, how that desire to be maybe not perfect, but just the desire to impress other people.
Yeah.
How that is at the root of so many issues that we face. Like even the way, like the Bible's talking about, to only use our words to build each other up, that our words would be, grace for those who hear. And whenever we have a desire, this is how it works in me. Whenever I have a desire to like be the most impressive or something, then the conversations don't have that thing of like, how are you building people up? The conversations have a thing of like, what are you going to say that's like the smartest thing here, or like the funniest thing? And
how do you like earn credit?
Yeah, how do I earn credit? How do I advance like my social whatever? Yeah. And that's just one of the ways that it works out in you. And there's so many different ways that if you can just let go of yourself and actually be, and it's not a self-esteem thing. Like we're not saying like, just be happy with who you are, because the who you are needs to change in a lot of ways. Like we all have to change in a lot of ways. That's part of growing up. Yeah, but at the same time, if you know Christ, then you can be comfortable with who you are and the respect that He is at work in you. So you can be, you're not comfortable with who you are, but you're comfortable with where you are in the journey of being sanctified right now.
Well, then you're comfortable with the trajectory you're on. And in some degrees, you won't be completely comfortable with the trajectory you're on, and that's okay. It's like, oh, okay, this was a bad day. But also saying, you know what, there's grace here for this. And leaning into the fact of, you know what, He made me this way for a reason. And that's not going to be, I don't need to be all things to all people at all times. I just need to be me. And whatever that is in that moment, like granted, I don't do it perfectly. None of us do. Like that's part of our sin nature. But being able to say, how should I react? How can I really depend on God here? And how can I because part of being humble and actually connecting with people is them letting you see you're vulnerable to a degree. Because to that degree, they'll be vulnerable with you. To actually have like a real connection, I can't keep putting up a front. Like to really connect with like my wife or my friends or whatnot, to a degree I have to. Even like talking through a lesson with a bunch of high school kids, like, okay, like I have to really show you this really changed me, because then you'll get involved. Because if I sit there and I can say, oh, God saved me. Okay, great. Like Christ saved me. That's really awesome. Or forgiveness is great. But then say, no, like, do you really get this? Like, do you actually feel the impact this has made in my life? Let's talk about this. And just saying in these moments, I don't have to be impressive here, and I can be the person, and I can show you how my life has changed because of these things.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I would say the next advice I would give to my future and past self is really simple, and that's learn how to pray more and learn to be a person of prayer. I never learned how to do that. I never did. My early Christian walk, probably until I was like a senior in high school, would be characterized by not taking it super seriously. And my then my Christian walk through college would be probably characterized by beginning to study theology a lot. But now I'm actually at the point where God has kind of hammered into me this need of, okay, you learned a lot of stuff, but you never really applied it. And I think that one of the ways that we have really learned theology, we've really learned doctrine, we've really learned about God and grown to know him deeper, when that's really happened, it becomes applied through prayer. And sometimes, like, there's a quote from C.S. Lewis about how enjoyment of something is never complete until it's praised, or enjoyment of something is never complete until it's shared. Until if you enjoy something, your enjoyment is never complete until you get to tell someone else about it, almost witness for it. I think that's in Mere Christianity, one of his books. But anyway, like, I think that our knowledge of God isn't really complete until it affects us on such a level that it becomes like a daily drive to prayer. And I just didn't know that, and I don't have that habit in my life yet to where, like you're talking about with reading, like, if reading becomes a habit for you, then your days feel a little bit like incomplete when you don't get to do it. And if TV is a habit for you, your days get incomplete when you don't get to do it. And I wish I could go back in time and make it so I start building a habit of prayer, so that now it does feel incomplete, like, unless I get to actually do it, 5, 10, 15 uninterrupted minutes of actual prayer. And because going back to what Jeremy said, like, we do need more help. We're not perfect. God doesn't ask us to be perfect. He does ask us to pray. Yeah. I think of the verse in Colossians that Paul tells them to be devoted to prayer. And I think that's a fine desire for us to have in life. And I wish that it was more true of me when I was younger. I wish it was more true of me now.
Yeah. Right. There's a quote that reminded me of David when you were talking about that. So that by Robert Murray McShane.
I knew you were going to say that.
It's one of my favorite I've ever written because it's always a reminder to me. And once again, I'm still learning this. But what a man is on his knees before God, that he is in nothing more. And just that moment of being like, this is where dependence truly lies. This is where humility is. And this is where God shapes us and molds us. Like, that's where I was listening to a sermon on the Lord's Prayer, actually this week, and he was going through it line by line, and I was like, man, I was hitting the face like, man, half the time I pray, I don't really pray this way, or I don't put this much emphasis, and it's not a long prayer. Like, Jesus' prayer is not long. It's 4 verses, and there's so much in there, but also it's so simple, and it's like, okay, I don't even do this. I don't do the bare minimum most often days, or like, I just go straight to these parts. I don't really, most of the time, I don't really ask for things, or if I do, they're all probably not really important. And granted, you can come to the Lord with every request. Don't get me wrong.
Or some days you just go straight to asking for things.
Or you don't really sit there and say, and that's one thing I've tried to talk to, like, the youth group kids about, being like, no, do you really, like, yes, everyone knows that prayer is just talking to God, which to a degree it is, but also the fact that, do you realize whose throne room you're going in? Granted, you're supposed to go with confidence, which we have difficulty sometimes, but you're supposed to realize him and then your relationship because of what he's done for you. And then that then should flip everything. The way you pray, the way you read, the way you talk, the way you act. Yeah.
I guess my last little piece is just a simple answer of just memorizing.
It's so simple.
Memorizing more scripture. More scripture for sure.
That was Jim Gaffigan butted into the program.
Like, even now, and that goes along with the reading. That the more you're in the Word, the more you will be able to, and you'll be enabled to carry all that with you. But, like, it's just, I mean, if you think about just going through your days, if you're like all of us now, where our day-to-day schedules are pretty filled up. I know me and Jeremy are new dads as well, and all
nights
that.
are filled up too, I think.
Yeah, nights are filled up with
That's
lack
the funny
of
thing about being a
sleep.
dad.
Before you being a dad, there is no night.
There's no day. It all just blends
it's
together.
all day.
It's all day.
It's all just time.
It's great. It is great.
No, but, like, for those times where, like, if you have the Word of God hidden in your heart and you're able to pull up just all that knowledge, all that can just be at your fingertips, and know that you're enabled to have all that. Like, he's given us his word so that we can go down and
he
study
put his spirit in us.
And, like, it's just, I mean, I wish that even now it's still a struggle, and I still want to memorize more and more. And it's a challenge. Like, it takes time to do. It's not easy, and it doesn't come natural to a lot of people. But if I could start that from a younger age, where like, I was actively trying to memorize, much more, then that would just, it just sets you up big time.
It's kind of weird because it's kind of a poison apple a little bit, because we went to a school and then you have church and stuff too, where like you're forced to memorize scripture.
Yeah.
And that bears good fruit in that there are still things that I remember from 4th grade church and school and whatever that I have memorized because I memorized it way back then.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it can make that, stupid class assignment instead of something to really be treasured. I think I'll put it in the show notes about, I think it's John Piper's got like 10 reasons to memorize prayer or something memorize scripture.
Yeah.
10 reasons that we should memorize scripture. That's really, really good.
Yeah.
That's good advice, man. That's something that's been a goal for me this year. I before the year began, well, I guess as the year began, because I wasn't ready on January 1st, but I set out, I think five portions of scripture, some of them longer, some of them shorter.
Yeah.
Things I wanted to memorize and put dates on them throughout the year so that I would hopefully
get there.
Yeah. And then shared it with somebody, like, so that they would,
accountability.
yeah, so that they would tell me. Like I put it up. I made a little chart thing.
Buddy system, folks.
Yeah, and I put it up in our house, and I told Rachel, I was like, hey, whenever this date comes, expect me to be able to do this. And so far I'm 1 for 1, but the next one's coming up
1 for 1
in like 10 days, I think, something like that. So I
better get on it.
I better get on it.
My last piece of advice, I would go, and this just came to me, but it's okay to let go of things. Let it go. Just,
Let it go.
I hate that movie. I can't believe I quoted it on here. It's not good. And Andrew and I just watched the Honest trailer on it, and we're like, man, this is not.
To be fair, all you have to do to quote that movie is say the words "let it go," which is a fairly common expression.
It brings you back instantly, and you're like, why?
Everybody's
I'm just not a fan.
It's a fairly common expression. So
yeah.
I think you're like,
anyways, it's not from the Frozen movie. Just in general, let it go. It's okay to say, this is not important. Or it's to say, like, it's okay to let go of things, even if they're necessarily good things, to let go of things that, I think that great could still be around the corner. And also, obviously, let go of the bad things that mean they're bad. The minute you're like, this is not healthy, whether that's even something that, like a job or something, or relationships, fill in the blank. It's like, okay, I've got to let go of this because it's not helping me grow. It's not helping me in any other walk of life. It's not really providing anything. So just say, it's time to move on and trust God. Easy advice, very difficult to do in the moment.
Difficult in practice. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's some advice for everybody.
I have some other advice.
You got some other advice? Yeah, Jeremy's going to open up some advice for us.
This is our newest segment, the Panda Express Chinese Kitchen Fortune Cookie segment.
Yeah.
You can hear me with the rapping.
Hopefully it's good advice.
Hopefully, we'll see. This could be, and also it's a book from some health and wealth people.
I wonder
probably
if this is our Joel Osteen sponsored portion of the program.
That's the rapper opening.
There you go.
Here is the...
Oh, that was a good crack.
We turned into like an ASMR video.
Exactly.
That was the...
You ever watched an ASMR video?
Oh,
Dude, they creep me out.
Yeah.
They creep me out. Some
Faye
people...
sister loves them, and I'm like, I don't like them. They're
some
weird.
Some of them are really weird.
They prove something to me. This is scientific. If you whisper
science with
for
David.
like an extended amount of time,
weird.
It is weird. If you whisper, it just becomes weird.
I'm gonna whisper through the podcast.
Like watching an ASMR video.
How is that science?
So
you just claimed it was science.
I know, right? Science dictates.
So this is science.
It's science.
Weird.
It's science because I observed it. So science.
So I guess that is
by the scientific method. That was a hypothesis,
and it's repeatable.
And it is repeatable. But we can all agree it is.
A bunch of the ASMR videos, like the people are like narrating them.
This
and they're
is
like whispering the whole time. And
this
it's
is
like,
me with a piece of
what's
paper.
What's our fortune, Jeremy? Let's
Yeah.
get back on
What's your final advice?
This is my final advice from my Days of Future Past self.
There you go.
Your genuine talent will lead you to success. Panda Express. Oh, that rhymed.
There you go.
I don't know if they meant to rhyme it, but it worked.
Last piece of advice for me, folks, is fortunes are crap. So
My last piece of advice is that if your preacher sounds anything like that fortune cookie,
Get a new preacher.
Get a new preacher.
This cookie is not good. I think it's
Immediately.
old.
Yeah.
Cookie's stale.
I feel like every fortune cookie is stale, and that's coming from me. And I'm a guy that actually does enjoy fortune cookies. Like, I actually do enjoy the taste of them.
No.
But I still think that they taste bad, or when they get stale, they taste bad.
They're never
They
really
are
great.
definitely they leave you to be desired.
Yeah.
Always leave you wanting more,
Anybody-
like we do with this podcast.
Anybody got any quick hits recos at the end of this one? I've got one. I can
can go
save the
ahead.
ship by having one.
I can make one
Kind
up.
of gotten off
My
track.
last one's pretty simple. I'm a big fan of ending daylight savings time. At the time of recording this,
Hot take.
we are.
Is that coming up?
Yeah, like it'll end in March.
I can give you the exact
Yeah,
date.
give us the date on that. So
Daylight.
it's gonna be March tomorrow, as of time of this recording,
And we spring forward, don't we?
we spring forward.
That's the worst.
That sounds bad.
That's in 2 weeks.
Hold on, that sounds bad. But the evening will be so much longer now.
Okay.
And I think all year long, we don't need to go to the fallback. We don't need to limit the daylight hours. Like, I just think we need to get rid of
David,
daylight
I have to
savings
grow
time.
my crops.
It's all for the farming industry.
Okay, so Sunday, March 10th is daylight savings time if you're in Ohio. And I want to know who actually does the 2 a.m. changeover if you don't just, except for your phone, which does it automatically. But everyone
Yeah.
else just changes their clocks before they go to bed,
go to
right?
bed. Yeah,
I want to
for
know.
the-
I want to meet the
Or
man.
you just forget about it and then find out like 4 days later
I
when you
want
think
to
you're
meet
late.
the man
And you're
that
like,
still
crap, I'm so late.
sets an alarm and like at
that
2
dude is
a.m.
like- that
goes
dude-
around
It's like
and
some suburban house
changes
dad. Like,
over
oh,
the
I gotta go
house.
change
Yeah.
clocks
That's
now.
like a
It's 2 a.m.
paranoid. That's like a paranoid dude. That's
I
like,
gotta
I'm
be on
not gonna
time.
miss a
I'm not gonna miss a minute.
I'm not gonna miss a minute of the day because who knows what could happen in the chaos
In
of
that
like.
minute.
What if I wake up at 1 a.m.? Is that the real 1 a.m.? Is it the fake
How do
1
I
a.m.?
know?
What if you're on
Like,
a plane going
How do
across
I know?
something and like a place that doesn't have daylight
There's
savings
actually
time?
there's actually two states I believe that don't do daylight
Yeah,
savings time.
Arizona's one of them.
Arizona's one of them.
Yeah.
See, if two states and they're doing fine, I think we
Well,
should
I mean,
get rid of it.
If you
would
want-
the plane
if
like be
any
like lost?
listeners
Would
are
it
in
go
Arizona
somewhere?
and want to like call us up and tell us how that works,
That's
we'd
how-
be happy. Like, how do you relate to the rest of the world then?
You don't.
Yeah.
You don't. It's really weird when you like go to another country and they don't do it and you're like, what's that?
Yeah.
That's stupid.
I think we're one of the few countries that do
we
it.
are because it's weird. People don't get it because
Gotcha.
it is weird. My hot take. Hot take of
We should
the
get
day.
some kind of sound effect for it.
We should. I already did some sound effects today.
I'll get our producer on that.
I would just say watch something fun.
Okay.
And actually just watch it for fun. Like it's okay to watch Netflix for fun, but also laugh at it. But don't just watch the same thing over and over
And
again.
also read a book.
And also read a book. Sit there and just do something fun that you want to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a
Yeah.
hot take. Just do something fun.
Do something that actually relaxes you is what you're saying.
Yeah,
So
that's a
in
better
this
way of saying what I
episode,
said.
We have science with David that was not real science, and then we had
Yeah.
do something fun, really high quality.
So
stuff.
I think, and this is good advice. Like, and this is advice I would, going back, like really, this is real quick. I would tell this to myself about 2 years ago. Is do think like it's okay to actually relax and do things that are relaxed. 'Cause
Yeah, see, that's a better way of saying
I pretty
it.
much worked. I pretty much worked all the time.
My fault.
And if I wasn't working,
if
I
you
was.
give advice to yourself, you would have changed how
I'm
you
the
would have said
search
that.
engine. I'm going back to my. Can I change my past advice, please, to say what
Yeah.
David said?
Exactly.
You would have updated to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's episode 3/1. Like the first.
Andrew, do you have a hot take? Like, do your taxes or anything? You're an accountant.
Get your taxes done.
There you
I'm
go.
in tax season right now.
Yeah.
And, well,
And
I
if you're
already
doing
got-
your taxes, we could recommend some like bullet bourbon probably to help you just kind of.
Yeah, that's how I get through the season. No. It's not that bad. I already got a refund, so newsflash.
There's a sponsor I'd take right there.
You mean your 0% loan to the
Hot
government?
take. Here's the hot take: is if you file your your taxes early, then the IRS is quicker to issue the refunds because they want to try to get through the backlog as much as possible, and the people that wait to the last minute, then you're probably going to wait a month or two to get your refund back. Whereas I got my refund back after e-filing within like 6 days. So
CPA advice from the resident CPA
the
on the
earlier you do it
podcast.
in the year, quicker your money comes back, people.
There you go.
We should ask him tax questions one episode.
That's next episode.
Next episode, Tax Corner with
Get
Andrew.
in with your tax things. It'll be sponsored by
It'll be
Jackson
riveting
Hewitt.
How many
podcast
withholdings
material.
do I have? Here's my situation.
H&R Block. Just Andrew narrating like a W-2.
I keep picturing the guy, the accountant from Parks and Rec. He's hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I give you
Also,
picturing.
guys, I hate individual taxes. So yeah,
I'm sorry
my
for
work's a
making
little
you do
more
mine.
exciting than that. but-
Awkward because Jeremy had you
I just have you do mine.
I do some individual taxes to help out my family, but
I feel like a jerk.
I do.
Past advice: don't give
I
your
do
taxes
much
to
more
Andrew.
exciting work than that. Yeah.
Excellent.
Thanks for that hot take,
Nothing
Andrew.
like a little tax humor to end the episode. Yeah.
Taxation is theft.
All right. Well, I could say this is our best episode yet, and I guess I could
would
say
say
that
so.
because it's not really a scientific claim. So
Because of science.
So it is. And guess what? Our next one will be the best one after that. Maybe.
So
Always
keep
getting
listening.
better.
So keep listening.
Like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff.
That's the other reason this is also the first real official non-teaser kind of episode, is because we have our website figured out now. We've got like the podcast feed figured out now. So subscribe, share it. If you want to rate it, you can rate it. We don't have any giveaways or anything like that yet. Maybe
give you a
we will
shout
in the
out.
future. Hey, yeah, I'll give you a shout out. I'd
We'll
love
read
to
your review.
I'd love to read your reviews on there.
Unless it's bad, then we'll just read it and laugh at it.
Shameless plugs.
Yeah, so you can review us. Make it funny though. Don't give us something that's like, I don't know. I mean, you can fawn
language.
over us and
I'll
just say
call
like
it out.
5
If it's not
stars.
funny, I'm going to call you out for
But
it. So.
it's more likely to be read if it's at least a little entertaining. And yeah.
What if we like our own? What if we review
See
it
you next
ourselves?
time.
Like
Right.
and share and subscribe and tell people about it. And we'll see you guys next time.
See you, folks.